In the English language, few words are feared more than "I have an idea," especially when they're being spoken by me. I have lots of ideas, some of which aren't probably good for your health, but I have lots of ideas. Some of them are even good ideas. Most of them are probably not good ideas, but I think this is a good idea. I frequently talk with some people over Skype, and for those some people, you know who those some people are, because they're probably you people. And one idea we came up with a couple nights ago while talking was an idea for a podcast. Rather, we didn't come up with it, I came up with it, just because I'm awesome like that. And in the end, I decided to call this idea Unpopular Opinions. And I call it that because it sounds like an awesome show title, and that's the idea. I have an idea for a podcast, and it's just what I said it was. Unpopular Opinions is a Tumblr tag I'm used to seeing, mostly because I follow a lot of fandom blogs on Tumblr. And my problem with a lot of these things that are tagged is people say, this is an unpopular opinion, but it's really not. They just think it's an unpopular opinion, and I think it's because they think that because it goes against what the canon is saying. I'm trying to think of an example that's not too spoilerish. Okay, the one I can think of off the top of my head, and sorry for anybody who's not into Doctor Who, is people think that not liking the 11th Doctor, played by Matt Smith, is an unpopular opinion. And I really don't think it is. I just think it's because I'm so used to such negativity towards this man and his role, and it's such bullshit. But people think that's an unpopular opinion. I really don't think it is. I am so used to seeing people say that to me that seems like a popular opinion. Now, I really think that an unpopular opinion is what Gomez said in a post, which is saying you really don't like the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. That is one hell of an unpopular opinion. Kind of like saying you don't like Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor. Unpopular opinion. That will get you maimed by a bunch of people in the fan base. And I think that's just because, obviously as a person, you have your perceptions on things and your opinions on things. And some people have certain opinions that they think is wrong, or, you know, just because you're so used to seeing people maybe parade around a certain fact. I have certain perceptions and opinions that I think are unpopular, but really probably aren't. So that was kind of my building idea for this idea for a podcast. Calling it Unpopular Opinion, but not just focusing on probably the unpopular opinion. I think what it would be like is maybe if you take two opposing viewpoints, or possibly more, I think depending on how many angles a certain issue has, and then scientifically sort of having people dissect it and defend their viewpoint, attack, because it's always fun to be violent, the other viewpoints, and something like that. I think it's just because there's so much, like, just rage and fan rage that I don't see a lot of basis behind a lot of arguments. I personally think that my reason for not liking the character of Rose from Doctor Who is based in somewhat scientific evidence, if you know what I mean. It's not just because I think it's not like, oh my god, she's ugly. That's not my basis. I have other certain interpretations of her that I think makes her a very horrible character. But there are people who, you know, for instance, haven't seen any. It's kind of like, it's basically the trope of complaining about shows you don't watch or whatever, like people who hate Harry Potter despite having never read the books, or maybe seeing a clip from a movie. They don't like it probably because it's just popular. You know, the whole hype backlash and all that kind of stuff. So with this, I want it to be an academic sort of argument, round table thing. But I think you are capable of doing this and still make it entertaining. I do think that's entirely possible, especially because I know you guys. And I think that a lot of our Skype rants are completely, you know, founded, and some of them are actually kind of interesting because we can kind of go back and forth on certain aspects and angles. Now, granted, yes, a lot of them is because we're happy to find people who agree with us, but I think if we can get some sort of dialogue going and exchange ideas, it would be interesting to see what comes from that. I think if we had people take certain sides and go at it in an educated but fun way, it would be an interesting podcast. You know, and basically the two rules being you can't say your mom and you can't say your face. You know, like that's like, you know, but you can just do whatever. I think if you presented multiple sides to an idea, you could probably get pretty far. On the other hand, there might be there could be some episodes where we all agree on one opinion that we think is unpopular and then go at it. On the other hand, we could even have an episode where we have a popular opinion and then maybe just go at why we think the popular opinion is the true opinion. Like in some instances, people like the Harry Potter example. You could easily, I think there's a good reason that the books, the movies are as popular as they are, barring the fact, you know, stuff like it got kids to read again, and you got people so immersed in this world, blah, 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 blah. Outside of that, I think you can argue that there's points for it being popular and for being as well known as it is. You know, you might want to stay away from things like Duke Nukem Forever sucks. We know it sucks. Like, and there are tons and tons and tons of blog posts and videos and reviews that say it sucks. We know that, you know? And in that regard, it's kind of a dead horse beating that, unless you wanted to take it from a different angle. And that's kind of my idea for this podcast. I don't know where to start, and I don't really know if anybody else besides me is really interested in this. And I think it's just because this would be another time commitment you'd have to do, and it would probably be another couple hours of us sitting on our asses and talking over Skype and hoping we get something from it. At this point, I'd say I'm looking more for a gauntlet of ideas to kind of start off with, because if we only have 5 ideas, then we're really not going to get very far. But if we can kind of get a list and keep getting me more ideas, and then we can just keep going with it, I think that would be a good way to start. The other good way to start is by saying, if you are interested in this at all, I really only ask that you have a good quality microphone. And by that, I really just mean you have a microphone that is not incorporated into your computer or your laptop, unless it's a good quality microphone. For instance, for some reason, people say my laptop's microphone is a good one. I use the built-in one for pretty much all Skype calls, but I do have a separate mic. So, you know, I think this is more like testing it out and seeing what other people have to say. So, you know, let me comment, whatever, tell me what you guys think, and tell me if you're interested, and maybe we can get this ball rolling for once.